So far, we've plotted the data for our survey for only one of the donuts, and that's the glazed donut. Now we'll take a look at how to plot the data for all of the donuts. Let's head back to the code, and what we're going to do is head to the plot function, and we're just going to erase everything we have because we're going to start from scratch. If we take a look at the data in survey_data.js, what we're looking for is the data for the 4 donuts, which are here highlighted. And then for each of those donuts, we also need the age and responses. So let's head back to index.html, and we're going to create a new array called donuts, and that will hold the names of the donuts. So var donuts equals d3.keys, and then we're going to pass params.data bracket 0. And so what we're doing is we're using the keys function of d3 to grab the property names for the first indexed item. And the reason we use the first is because the property names are for all of the indexed items. So we'll just grab the first one. Now we'll head back to index.html. On a new line, console.log donuts. Save and head to the web page, refresh, and there we have the name of all of the keys within that object. Now the thing is that age and responses aren't the names of donuts, so we need to get rid of them. And since this particular call returns a function, then what we'll do is we'll append .filter, and we'll type function d and open and close curly brackets. So what we're going to do here is this returns an array. We're using the filter method of that array in order to filter out the following. Return the items where d does not equal age and d does not equal responses. Save that, head to the page and refresh. Looks like we might have a typo. That's responses. Save, refresh. And now we've reduced it just to the names of the donuts. Perfect. Back to the code. Let's delete the console log statement. And now we're going to create a group element for each of the donut types. This.selectAll. And we're selecting all of the elements that are classed as donut. And we're going to bind this data to the new donuts array. And it's the enter phase. We're going to append a group. And instead of using classed like this, we're going to instead do attr, and we're going to set the class attribute manually so that we can use function d and return the name of the donut as the class. This lets us do it dynamically. With classed like this, .classed donut true, we are setting an additional class of donut, but we can't dynamically set that name. It's just there. Semicolon at the end. We'll head back to the web page, refresh, click the magnifying glass in the developer console, click the SVG element, and now drill down the DOM, and we created 4 groups. Each group has the class of the name of the donut, so glaze, jelly, powdered, and sprinkles, and then as well, donut. So now it's time to actually set the data. What we're going to do is iterate through the names of the donuts, and that's the array at line 44. Donuts.forEach, open and close parentheses, and then function donut, and open and close curly brackets. So we're using the forEach method of the array donuts. For each of the donut entries, which is denoted by donut, we'll do the following. We're going to select the group that is specific to that donut type. How do we know? Console.log donut. Save and go back. Now let's click on console, and there we have our 4 donut types. So var g equals this.selectAll, and all of the items that are g dot and the donut name. Console.log g, and refresh, and we get an error. Undefined is not a function. Line 58. This within the function here does not refer to chart, as this outside of it does. And that's because the keyword this is dependent on context. The way we fix this is before declaration of donuts here at line 45, we'll type var self equals this. Now what we're doing is we're creating a new variable called self, and we're storing the value of this inside the main function. That will be chart. So instead of this.selectAll within this function, it'll be self.selectAll. Save it, head to the browser and refresh, and there you go. We've got our 4 groups. Now, what we need to do is we need to create an array that just has the donuts data and then age responses. So basically, we just need the name of the donut that is currently selected, its data, and then the age and responses. The way we'll do that is after the declaration of G within the for each method, var arr equals params.data.map, open and close parentheses. And what the map function of an array does, it iterates through the array and then lets us return values according to a function that we create. Okay, let me get rid of this console log statement. And now within this newly created function, we're going to return an object that has a key property. And that key property is the name of the donut. It has a value property. That value property is the current entry with the key donut. So this would be D bracket jelly or D bracket glazed, etc. The age, so D.age. And we need the responses. Responses, and that's D.responses. Semicolon at the end of that return statement, console.log outside of it, ARR, save and refresh. And what we have are 4 different arrays. That's exactly what we need. Now it's time to actually plot the data. Let's get rid of the console statement. And so we're going to have an enter phase, an update phase, and an exit phase. The enter phase first, g.select all, and we'll select all the elements within the group for that donut that have response as a class. And we're changing this from point earlier. So we're going to bind that data to our new array. And this is the enter phase. We're going to append circles, and we're going to apply the class response. That's the enter phase. Now we need to update the attributes, g.select all, and this is .response. And we're going to set the attribute for the radius, and that's going to be through a function, and that function will return the response scale, and into that response scale we pass d.responses, and that corresponds to this property here. Then we're going to set the attribute for the cx, and that'll be a function as well, and we're going to return the x scale, and passed into the x scale is the age data, and that refers to this. Finally, we're going to set the cy property, use a function, and we're going to return the data passed into the y scale, which is d.value, and that refers to this right here. Okay, we'll move to the exit phase, and let's copy the first line, say that it is bound to this new array. This is the exit phase, and we want to remove any of the unbound elements. Save that, head to the page and refresh, and voila, you've got all of your data points, each within a group. If we click the magnifying glass, you can see that that is Jelly Donut, and it's within the Jelly Donut group. Click that magnifying glass again. This is in the Sprinkles Donut. And we conveniently have them within groups, which makes it easier to manipulate later and move. So this can be a bit complex. There's a lot of steps involved, but the essential thing you do, create a group for your group of data. Then you look to select items within that group and bind the data to those items, and then change your attributes and remove any unbound data.